She was always, she was very humble, she was smart, she was kind. She's just one of those little kids that she was special.
I had certain teachers that I enjoyed going to see just because I connected with them on a different level and or just liked being with them. And Sue was very much one of them. So I think we met up for coffee super duper sporadically.
Yeah.
Just kind of sort of stayed in touch. Yeah. Friends on Facebook. So, Facebook is the ultimate life updater. And yeah, just kind of stayed in touch and followed each other's lives.
It wasn't like we even talked on the phone all the time.
No.
I would say maybe we saw each other 3 times a year, 4 times a year.
We'd just get together, get coffee or lunch or go for a walk or something along those lines.
It's just been a year. I was April 28th that I was diagnosed, and of 2022. And he said, let's just, my blood work was good, and he said, but let's just do a CAT scan. And so I said, okay, so we did it, and then he said, well, we saw this little thing, but I think it's just like a fuzz in the, like no big deal of anything. So he said, but let's just do an MRI. So we did it, and he just said there are 2 little spots. And he immediately talked about transplant. Like immediately, like with 5 minutes, it was like, you're going to see this doctor, you're going to see this doctor, and we're going to get your liver transplant.
You have cancer and you need a new liver.
Well, the funny part, it was probably just stage 1. It was tiny. In fact, they have what they call an AFP marker. Is that right, AFP? Yeah, marker, and that shows what the cancer is in your body. And like normally, it's 9, and mine was just 11. And he said, your marker and my marker are very similar. So it was that early that they found it. When we met with the team from Penn, they said, if you don't have a living donor, you could wait for a long time, and you still don't know if that's going to be a good match. So they said, because it was so early, if I would ask for a living donor, and I looked at my husband and said, like, how do you ask for a living donor? And so the nurse practitioner that I had spoken with, she said, you just write a letter and put it out on social media. And I was like, how do you do that? Like, to ask for a liver. So I sat down and wrote something up, and I shared it with Tim, and I shared it with my kids, especially my daughter. And we came up with this letter, and I put it on Facebook. And it's so hard to do that. I couldn't even talk to anybody about it. Like a lot of people said a lot of people would say they were screening, but I never asked them, like, how did it turn out? Because it's such a huge ask to ask somebody to do that. And so, and I had a lot of people who did try to screen, but they're like, with my own children, they had reasons why they couldn't donate. Tim was too old. Most of my friends are my age. They're too old. So, it was really reaching out there. But I actually had some people who I didn't even know who screened. And that's, it's crazy.
I'd seen the email and saw the post and everything, and like in the moment, you don't think that that's really something that you can do. But I was like, I just kind of felt kind of convicted about it. Like, why not? Why not just fill out the evaluation? Because the evaluation is the very first step where they ask a ton of questions. Like, do you have any health history? Do you have any medical history? Are you on any medications? How old are you? Just all of those pieces. And then that's where a lot of people get kind of kicked out, because any comorbidities, any other issues, you won't even get pushed on to the next round. So I filled that out, I want to say like early June. And then I got a note saying that we've received your evaluation and the next step would be lab work. I'm like, oh, okay, well, didn't really expect to be, moving on to labs, but here we go. So I just went to the Quest here close by, and they did just a very baseline set of labs. One of the biggest was the blood type, making sure our blood types were compatible or at least matched matched or were compatible, which they were. They did an entire full system workup to make sure that there was nothing that would make any kind of complications for either of us. The one thing Penn kept telling me over and over and over is that, we will not move forward with this if it is not 100% safe for you to do it. And I hadn't told Sue that I was going through all this testing. Yeah, Sue and I had actually decided to meet up and go for a walk.
And lunch.
Lunch, yep.
Where?
We were just walking around F&M, and then we got lunch at Rachel's. And as we were walking around F&M, my phone rang, and it was the donor coordinator from Penn.
It's crazy.
But I didn't want to say anything without Tim there, so I'm just trying to play it cool on the phone. She's like, "Hello, Maredith. I just want to let you know that we've approved you as a donor and would like to try to talk about dates for, scheduling surgery." And I was like, "Can I call you back a little bit later?" Because I'm actually with her right now, and I don't super want her to suspect anything.
Which I kind of did.
Yeah, you kind of
kinda
did. So we kept walking. We went for lunch, got home. I told them that I wanted to take a picture of the two of them and ended up doing a video instead, and then told them that I was the approved donor.
And actually, I am your liver donor. That was the call I just got.
Seriously?
And that day, September 2nd, I had been confirmed as a match.
2 weeks prior to the surgery, we weren't supposed to see a lot of people and stay away from people, that kind of thing. And we just kept, like, every week we'd go, okay, 2 weeks, 1 week, that type of thing. And then, especially the day of, we met at about 5 or 7 in the morning in the lobby at Penn, and we both had our shirts on. And it was just sort of, we went in there, we hugged, and it was like, okay, we're just gonna do this.
Here we go. For her, they were taking the entire liver out. For me, they dissected it and took 65% of my liver. And then, got all the plumbing hooked up, made sure hers was working well, made sure mine wasn't leaking anywhere, closed us up, and off to the ICU we went. For living liver donors, the first 6 weeks, 3 months, a year is really the biggest life change. Because after 3 months, both of our livers had regenerated back to full size. So I don't have to be worried about alcohol or medications or anything like that, because my liver is functioning 100% normally. All my labs are back to normal. Biggest thing is you do have a very large scar on your abdomen, like I do, at least, and it's beautiful, but you need to be careful. It's still a healing thing. And after that 6-month mark, they're like, "You're cleared." I am essentially back to 100% normal. I can't donate my liver again, but can do pretty much everything else.
My marks were 3 months, and then 6 months, and then a year, and then 3 years. And once we hit the 3-year mark, that's sort of like you're totally home free.
Sue won't say it, but she definitely has more energy after surgery than she did before. Much more spunky. Oh gosh, yes.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Usually I talk a storm up and I'm like,
Oh, you do, but you can literally run circles around me now, which you could do before, but you just do it at a higher pace of speed. She's got a piece of me. That's kind of a big deal.
It's a big deal.
My family is growing exponentially because her family is mine. And
That's true.
we just, I don't know. I feel like anytime I have kids, Lord willing, in the future, they're going to just have an extra grandmother and grandfather. And yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
But it's funny because when we first got through the transplant, you don't really know how you feel when you get out. It's sort of, I felt like in my brain, I have to call Maredith every day, and she needs to know that every day I appreciate everything she's done and that kind of thing.
A year ago today, if you would have asked what would we be doing? What would I be doing today? I mean, being 6 months out of a major surgery would 100% not be what was on my list. But it was an opportunity that was presented, and I mean, got to hang out with this one a little bit more, and just so many cool opportunities and stories, and just to be part of that very, very tight-knit donor transplant liver badass club is pretty cool.